For our project, we created a quiz-based math game called MathMania. In our group, we have China, Samita, and Daria. MathMania is basically a fast-paced math equation game, and the rules are very simple. The user has to answer as many questions as they can under a certain time limit correctly. If they're unable to answer a question correctly, then they will automatically lose the game. If they're unable to answer the question within the time limit, then they will also automatically lose the game. What makes our game more unique is that after 3 questions are answered correctly, a riddle will appear. But if the user is unable to answer the riddle correctly, then they will automatically lose the game. We implemented the game by using only PHP and CSS and cookies and sessions. The design is very simple and lightweight. The leaderboard functionality is to try to beat your own personal best score. So the design. Information is tracked by posting variables and storing these variables into cookies. Scoring is accomplished through the use of simple counter variables that increment when the user answer is equal to the correct answer. The user only inputs their name and their answers. The program will output whether the answer is correct or not, the current score, and eventually a game over screen with access to the leaderboard. The login page, or our initial page, serves to get the username and stores it into a cookie for the use in the leaderboard later. The random equations are generated in our PHP file called math.php by assigning the operators to an array and picking one at random using switch statements. The number variables are assigned with a randomly generated number. These variables are inserted in a generic equation form of num1 operator num2 equals answer. Solution PHP handles the score counting and input posting. In a case where the user answers a question incorrectly, they will be taken to a screen where they can view the leaderboard or try the game again. The leaderboard is generated by our PHP file called gameover.php. Testing was done continuously. Every time anything was added, it was tested and revised until any errors or bugs were removed. To track invisible data such as the cookies, echo functions were used at various points to see and to make sure if they were storing the correct information. Once a certain piece of code was sufficiently bug-free, it was then incorporated into the full program. So the login page is a basic PHP file with HTML. Since we are using sessions, we use the session start function so the user data is stored securely. The program retrieves user information and then stores it into a cookie, which is then echoed into the leaderboard. Once the user hits the submit button, it will lead to a math problem which is generated by the math.php file. All the math questions are randomized by using the rand function, and they are picked randomly by the switch statements. The timer is basically the time it takes for the user to answer the question. In this case, the user must answer the questions in 3 seconds. If more, it will automatically take them to the leaderboard. So as we mentioned before, we also put in riddle problems in the mix of the math problem. So what this program really does is that it after the user successfully answers 3 questions in a row correctly and within the time limit, a riddle question will appear. And in our program we have 4 riddles, and they are randomly generated and they are randomly picked by the switch statements. And all the users' answers to the math problems and the riddle problems are then stored in a cookie, which then the variables in the cookie will be echoed into the leaderboard. So basically, all the variables in the cookies are now going to be posted to the leaderboard, and that's what this program is doing. So all the cookies stored in as the user answer will store in a different variable, and all the cookies that store the score will store in a different variable. And once that's all of them are submitted, then those cookies are then posted to the or echoed into the leaderboard. So we created a leaderboard text file and used the file put content function to put all the user information such as the name and their score and update every time a new user comes in into that text file. And to create a new table, we had to get those contents and then create an array of those contents and into a table so it can echo out the appropriate
Hi, I'm China and I will be demoing the project. So right here we have the login page and it's just a simple login structure. You just enter your username. There's no password because I figured we didn't really need a password for this assignment. So all you have to do is put in your username. For this, I'm going to put in player 4 and click begin. So here it takes you to the first math equation. Each page is going to generate its own random math equation. And right here is the answer box where you type in the answer. And as long as you get it right, you can keep going. And you can click the submit answer button or just hit enter. It's completely up to you. So when you get it right, it displays correct onto the screen and it also shows your score at the top. And the more you get right, the score is going to keep going up to show how many you get right. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one correct too. And at the bottom, there is an in-game button right here. And if you decide to click on that, it's going to go ahead and end the game and then display your score and your name on the leaderboard. But for now, we're going to keep going. And when you get 3 right in a row, it's going to take you to a riddle question. So in the riddle question, instead of typing in an answer and then submitting it, it is multiple choice. So you just pick one of the answers and submit, and it's going to send your answer that way. So I'm going to go ahead and read the riddle. So 2 girls ate dinner together. They both ordered iced tea. One girl drank them very fast and had finished 5 iced teas in the same time that it took the other girl to drink just one. The girl who drank only one iced tea died while the other survived. All the drinks were poisoned. How is this possible? So you have A, the poison works faster the slower you drink it. B, the poison was in the ice. C, the other girl had a stronger immune system. Or D, this is not possible. So if you get it wrong, it's going to take you to the leaderboard page, but if you get it right, it will keep going. So I already know the answer to this. It is B, the poison was in the ice. So I'm going to go ahead and submit the riddle. And you see it keeps going. You have a score of 5 now, and it displays correct on the screen. So as long as you keep getting these right, you can keep going. So this is 16. Score is 6. Let's see, 54. Yep, and it takes you to another riddle. So this one, oh, and I think this is already explained in the code, but there is an array of riddles basically, and they are randomly selected whenever you go to a riddles page. So it just picks one. There's 4 in total for this project, and it's a random generator basically. So for this riddle, a woman shot her husband, held him underwater for 5 minutes, and went out to dinner with him later that evening. How is this possible? So you have A, she did it using a camera. B, he rose from the dead. C, he can hold his breath for a long time. Or D, her husband is a ghost. So normally you'd have time to think about this, but I already know it. She did it using a camera. So we're going to submit, and you can just keep going as long as you want. So in the case that you get an answer incorrect, or you hit the end game button at the bottom. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to go ahead and get it wrong. So if you get it wrong, it takes you to the game over page where it displays your name and your score and a leaderboard table. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you want to start over, there's a start over button at the bottom of this page. You click it and it takes you right back to the login page where you can enter your username and start all over again. Thank you.